muchas películas con mensajes potentes están protagonizadas por animales, lo vemos mucho en Disney, también en fábulas y cuentos clásicos, en Los Tres Cerditos, El Lobo Feroz. ¿Por qué crees que los animales funcionan tan bien como figuras alegóricas y vehículo narrativo?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think animals are always kind of great metaphors because I think they, we live with these animals and we see them, and I think we're always very curious about what their personalities are and how they talk. But I also think that seeing them anthropomorphic, I think people can project onto them per different, ourselves without having to think about, race or gender or anything like that. I think it just is a nice kind of, for lack of a better word, avatar for us as people. And I think that's why and I think generally we're also very intrigued by the animal world. I think there's a general curiosity about it. So I think for all these reasons, for the span of time, stories with animals have persisted.
Y en la película los animales asumen como algo natural que unos se coman a otros, son las leyes del estanque. Es más necesario que nunca cuestionarnos realidades que parecen inamovibles y que perpetúan desigualdades.
Okay, wow, that sounded very philosophical. I think maybe, okay, to answer that, I'll try my best to answer that. I think trying to set up what the pond rules were in this movie, which is kind of the rules all these animals live by, I think the fun thing is that they don't always make sense, and Mabel calls it out. She says there are contradictions in it. And I think, to me, that is the truth of anything, is that there are always going to be contradictions. But I think the important thing for any kind of rules is that we all kind of feel like we have a common goal and we all want to work together to make it work. So I think that it was interesting to get to play around in the animal world and push that to the point of like the animals are also okay with them eating each other. But I think they all understand it's for this greater good in their ecosystem that has to happen. It's kind of sounds funny, and we are playing as a joke, but I think that is the truth behind it, is that there will always be contradictions, to any like bunch of rules that everyone abides by. But I think as long as everyone just tries to have the best intention that we have a common goal, I think that's when it works really well.
Y en la película vemos esa violencia del fuerte contra el débil, cuando el oso se come al castor, no se puede hacer nada por impedirlo. ¿Ves una similitud con el panorama global actual?
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, part of the movie has to do with power and what people do with power. So, for example, just Mabel and this mayor that she's fighting against, it's, the mayor has all the power, Mabel has no power. And it's frustrating. She can't do anything because of that. But when Mabel hops and goes into the animal world, that's her trying to find power. And when she finds that community of animals, that's power. When she meets the council, that's more power. She's getting more power. And then the question becomes, when you have power, what do you do with it? And some people use it poorly. Some people use it correctly. And King George, for example, has power. He uses it correctly. He just wants to bring people together. So it becomes, I think, part of the thematic things within the movie have to do with how do people who with power deal with it, and what do they do with it, and do they use it for good or bad? And I think that exploration is something that we, have experienced, forever, and I think it feels very relevant today, probably.
¿Y crees que estamos tan insensibilizados, que somos tan apáticos ante las injusticias como un poco el personaje de Loaf, el castor?
No, I mean, I think there's still a lot of people like Mabel out there in the world that are fighting. And you need people like Mabel, you need people like George, and Loaf also becomes brave in the movie, So I think no matter what happens, there are always all these different personalities in the world, and that's a good thing, because I think that will help just give us the ability for people to still fight for the little guy and people who need help.
Y un poco a raíz de lo que hablábamos antes de la violencia, del poder, cómo de peligrosa no es ya la proliferación de la violencia, sino que se normalice, que es un poco lo que pasa con las leyes del estanque.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to compare the violence in the animal world with the violence in the human world. I mean, I think it's a little different. And obviously the way they were playing it in the movie is just that animals eat each other, and that is the truth of their ecosystem. But the violence in our world, you know, I think it's got a different connotation, I think. So I wouldn't want to compare those things, and I'm not trying to draw those parallels. But hopefully people can just see that overall there is this desire for coexistence. That is probably the bigger thing I'm trying to get across.